Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we are going to cover all the latest moves from the WWE draft, including a new signing shockingly moving to Raw.
10 wrestlers become free agents following the WWE draft.
I will tell you all about the major cliffhanger that WWE cancelled in the draft.
And WWE came incredibly close to splitting up your favourite tag team. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And the Bushwhackers were already split up.
And this is the news.
Are they? I don't actually know. Let's kick things off by talking about the draft. How did things go last night on Raw? How did it wrap up? Who were the big names to move? The most surprising name to move in all of this is probably Gable Steveson, right? The Olympic gold medal winner. Moved to Raw. I think he was, I've got the number written down here. Why am I saying I think? Number 23 overall in the draft. Moving to Raw despite never wrestling on TV. Steveson, freestyle wrestling, 125 kilo gold medal winner in the Olympics. He was at SummerSlam. You saw him in the ring there, and then he was signed to WWE shortly after that. The surprising thing here is that he's never worked a professional wrestling match before, and now he's drafted to Raw. So it's an interesting move for sure. Fightful Select reported it before it actually happened, before the show. We're going to have some more on Gable Steveson in the Twitter questions, so I will save my thoughts for that until later in the video. But other big names to move last night include Becky Lynch. She was the first overall pick on the night, moving from SmackDown to Raw. Writing was probably on the wall after Charlotte Flair moved in the opposite direction.
They do that goddamn belt swap. I'm going to go mental.
Well, you're going to go mental very, very soon, my friend. I am sorry to break that to you.
Is this yours? Is this yours? Because it's a different colour.
T-shirt time is fast approaching as well, so it's a good time to brand supremacy. Anyway, Seth Rollins, he also moved.
Mr. Becky Lynch.
Mr. Becky Lynch, Seth the Chef Rollins, he also moved. Those are probably the two biggest names to move brands. But we had some other transfers as well. Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, they've both gone from SmackDown to Raw. And moving in the opposite direction, we have Sheamus, we have Shayna Baszler, we have Ricochet. They've all gone to SmackDown. So
please do something good with Ricochet.
That would be nice for a change, wouldn't it? So we're not going to sit here and run down every single draft pick, but those are the key ones. Those are the most important ones. All in all, the draft, I haven't sat down and totted up the totals, but at least on Raw and SmackDown, it felt a bit more like they moved more people this time, right?
Yeah, I've got to say, I quite enjoyed these last couple of episodes featuring the WWE draft.
They were fun.
Normally, it's dreadful, and half the time they go, we're going to draft everyone who's already on our roster.
Yeah.
Which, yes, they did, but then again, if you got the first pick, you would pick Roman Reigns, and then if you got the second pick, you would pick the other person who's the world champion, Big E.
Yes.
We'll talk more about that, actually. Well, in theory, you would, in a few minutes' time. But I've quite enjoyed it. Thank goodness Paul Heyman wasn't left for dead on Monday Night Raw as threatened by Mafia boss Roman Reigns on SmackDown. But I said this when I came in. Was that another quite good, again, we're grading on a curve here, another quite good episode of Monday Night Raw? By that I mean, I didn't hate it. I think that's 3 weeks in a row when I've sat and watched Raw and gone, well, you know what? If it wasn't my job to watch this show, maybe I'd still watch it next week. And that has been a long time coming. It's been a long while since I've actually quite enjoyed or just been satisfied with Monday Night Raw. I think it's been a great few weeks, to be honest. Obviously, it's been a lot of big things happening, but yeah, I quite liked it.
I thought the draft stuff was good. But I thought
illogical, at least, in terms of people were going bonkers on Friday because why hasn't Becky Lynch been drafted? She's in the other draft pool. That's why it didn't happen.
Yeah, you get those little.
But it wasn't like they drafted Gable Steveson, for example. Congratulations to him. But it wasn't like they drafted him number 5, for example.
Yeah, he was drafted after a few names that were quite surprising. But I thought the content of Raw itself wasn't great. Like the Hurt Business already kind of look like loser jobbers, and that's not.
But they're only there to get wrecked by.
I know, but it'd be nice if they were, treated with a bit more.
We all knew that was going to happen, and we had to have the New Day win. So they could promote their brilliant Undertaker thing, which I'm so excited to play.
Are you on the payroll?
I am excited to play that game. Have you not seen the trailer? It looks preposterous, and so Xavier Woods could shout down the lens as he should be that he's going to be king of the goddamn ring. Anyway, what are we talking about? Oh yeah, the draft. Let's
Undertaker,
continue. Let's talk about the wrestlers who've become free agents following the draft, because of course we have the drafts and then we have the sort of supplementary drafts on Talking Smack and Raw Talk, all of which the drafts you can read at WhatCulture.com. But Brock Lesnar was joined by a select few other names who are also now free agents, undrafted people. Now, a lot of these can be explained away. You've got people like Asuka and Bayley who are free agents simply because they are injured and not competing, and they'll just probably show up on a show when they're fine. You've got Lacey Evans, who's pregnant. You've got Eva Marie, who's You've got Elias and Shane Thorne, who are undergoing, let's say, some Crocodile Dundee-esque character changes. At least one of them is. You've got Lindsay Dorado and Gran Metalik, who are want away, let's say. And you've got the only person who's also on Brock Lesnar's level, and that's Titus O'Neil, who is a man worthy of being across all shows all the time.
Yeah, so like you say, most of these are explainable.
Yeah, Eva Marie especially so.
Yeah, Eva Marie, what the heck is going on? Yeah, but you can apply reasons to all of these. No massive surprises there. You'd imagine that when all these people return to TV, they will be assigned new brands, unless they're just free agents for no reason. Why would I even bring that up? That was really stupid. But yeah, big shock that Major League talent Eva Marie was not drafted. I thought she'd be in the top 5.
And they've done such good things with her to establish it.
Yeah, at least the or whatever you just said. What is that accent?
I don't really
like
know.
Brooklyn,
so I want
Boston.
to I've got a
Park my
selection.
car, don't have a yard.
Something like that, yeah. It's sort of the similar line to huge pap, I've realised, but move on.
Alaskan, it's an Alaskan accent. All right, let's kick things off. What am I
With
talking
story
about?
number 3.
It's the first story. I take one day off and I'm a disaster. Right, what am I talking about? All right, cliffhanger. There was going to be a big cliffhanger in the draft. PW Insider's Mike Johnson here with the report, stating that WWE at least threw around the idea of Bobby Lashley being named as Raw's first pick. Now, the idea here would have been to create this cliffhanger so you'd have to tune into Raw to find out where Big E would be drafted. Now, obviously this didn't happen. Lashley went first for Raw. The WWE champion stays on Raw. But the idea as well would be that because Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston were drafted to SmackDown, you'd have a little bit of intrigue there. You'd have a little bit of intrigue heading from Friday to Monday. Turned out not to be the case. Both Big E and Lashley remained on Raw. I guess it would have been, a little thing. Oh, I gotta see what's going on with this Big E fella. But it didn't pan out that way, and we got a more logical option instead.
Yeah, I will say, because I'm going to be quite hypocritical here, I will say I've said in the past that they should co-promote other stuff on the show. Promote anything, to be perfectly honest. But I do like when they say you have to tune in on Monday or you have to tune in on Friday with the opposing shows because this big thing's going to happen. Having said that, that would have been the dumbest decision, other than the story I'm about to read as well, because even if you want to do it to create intrigue, if this is a universe that you created and it's not just Postman Pierce and Sonya Deville or the robots that run each show making the decisions or executives or whatever bollocks you want to say, why wouldn't you pick the WWE champion? It's not even like Bobby Lashley's got another shot at it.
Exactly.
If he had a shot at it, at least like remember they drafted Rollins and Ambrose, and like Ambrose was champion, but they drafted Rollins and Rollins got a shot, what have you. Yeah, it'd been really dumb. So I'm glad they didn't do it. And also, way to undercut Big E immediately as a world champion.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And they undercut him enough with the nature of his world title win and then everything else. They've done a good job with him since then, but after that first week or so he had as champion, this would have been rubbish. So I'm glad they didn't do that.
That's another reason why I like Raw. Big E and Big D. I'm well excited for that.
Big D?
Big Drew McIntyre.
Of course. Gee whiz.
Right, let's move on and
Need
talk
a big C.
Another dumb decision they almost made around the WWE draft is coming from PW Insider's Mike Johnson, always with the reliable scoops on this, that they considered splitting up the Street Profits. Why? Now, I will say, yes, Montez Ford, he had that brilliant singles match with Roman Reigns. He is probably going to be the breakout star of the Street Profits. He is probably going to be a sensational singles wrestler, maybe even a world champion one day. That frog splash is magnificent, but this would have been the stupidest thing they could have done. They've already broke up half the bloody tag teams. I'm not sure there's many women's tag teams left after this draft, but anyway, the plan would have been to send Montez Ford to Raw, where of course his real life wife Bianca Belair is, whilst Angelo Dawkins would have stayed on SmackDown and I don't know, hung out with Mace as part of two people who can't wrestle anymore because their tag team partners have disappeared.
Yeah, Shanky and Jinder as well. They've
God,
shed Veer. Poor Veer, what's he gonna do?
What about my song, Shanky and Veer? Their genders heavies. Dead forever now.
Gone. It's gone. Won't somebody think of the gimmicks? I'm interested to figure out, to see what kind of ceiling Montez Ford has as a singles wrestler eventually, but not now. I think
No.
it would have been a little bit soon. The Street Profits still have plenty of mileage. So I'm glad they didn't go for this, but it would have been a very WWE thing to do, wouldn't it? Hey, you like this tag team? Too bad, pal. We're going to split them up.
Stop splitting up tag teams, especially when half the tag team you've only got left are two people who can barely coexist and just get shoved together in a team. I will say this though, congratulations to the new team, the Handsome Bastards, who were drafted to
Very
SmackDown
sexy.
as well. Anyway, let's move on to your Twitter questions
That's
at
aggressive.
WhatCulture. Bonk, go to horny jail. At WhatCulture WWE, if you want to get in touch with us. First question today comes from Jonathan Rivera. Jonathan says, how much of a nutter do you think Sami Zayn will turn into this week over the injustice of being drafted dead last?
He's gonna go nuts. He's gonna lose it.
I love conspiracy theory Sami Zayn, and this feeds right into it.
Yeah, he's gonna go absolutely off his nut. I think they're just gonna take that gimmick to a new level. We'll see how that manifests. But Raw is 3 hours long. It has a lot of programming to fill, a lot of minutes to fill. Sami Zayn is always entertaining in whatever he does. So I think that no matter how off the rails he go, it's going to be fun and it's a smart draft.
Yeah, I think he's going to be brilliant, whatever he does next. Give him more mic time, always. And yeah, I think this, I was a bit sat there going, why haven't they drafted Sami Zayn? And then drafting him dead last makes a lot of sense for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'll move on to the second question today. It comes from Eddie Zamhari. Talks about Gable Stevenson, saying, well, with Gable Stevenson, or Stevenson, I make the same mistake all the time. It's Gable Stevenson, isn't it? That's his surname.
Stevenson.
Yes. With Gable Stevenson getting drafted to Raw before he made his debut, do you think WWE will skyrocket push him quicker than expected? We were already speculating about this in a news story a while back.
Yeah, this is a really interesting draft pick because he's gone back to the University of Minnesota to finish his last year and train for a career in wrestling at the same time. They've set up a facility for him there. But he still has amateur wrestling commitments to wrap. I believe it's May 2022 when he'd theoretically be available. Maybe
it's a pretty cool thing, that, isn't it?
It is, and there's some image rights stuff in that contract that makes it very interesting as well. So I don't necessarily think he's going to immediately become a part of programming. I think his education and everything else will prevent that from happening. But we'll probably see him, on and off every now and then. Really interesting move. Can we drop the Kurt Angle comparisons? Like, no one's done that here, but everyone talks about it constantly. Kurt Angle was hot shot and everything. That is just a horrendous level of expectation to saddle this guy with. The greatest WWE rookie of all time. Hey, you're going to be like him. Get rid of that. Let's, keep Gable Stevenson at arm's length a little bit and see how he does. But we will see more of him than we would initially have thought.
And Gable Stevenson seems like a lovely bloke. Kurt Angle officially is a lovely bloke. But the way they pushed him initially came across like a bit of an arsehole.
Yeah.
So just maybe don't do that, because they're shoving it down everyone's throats, as we've seen with him and other, like Mark Henry, for example.
Yeah.
Just does not work. So maybe just give him, I'd love the idea of just him, I'm just popping out for a bit. Where are you going? The Royal Rumble. I've got a spot in it to eliminate 5 people. Have him do that and then hoy him out and then make him disappear again for a bit. But yeah, don't bring him until he's ready, and then stop saying about the Kurt Angle things, because it's just like saying, yeah, you're never going to achieve those sorts of levels. So I'm excited to see what they do with him, but let's just pump the brakes on the Kurt Angle comparisons just a little bit. Hopefully he can be the same, but let's not saddle him with that. And let's move on to the final question today from Post Ghost, who says, evening, gents. When does David Arquette make his AEW debut? When has he earned the fans' redemption? Oh, no.
I love David Arquette, especially after watching You Cannot Kill David Arquette.
It's a great film.
Tremendous documentary. If you haven't seen it, I wholeheartedly recommend checking it out. I think it'd be fun to use David Arquette on AEW TV, as a little one-off. Doesn't necessarily have to go out there and have this 12-minute match with whoever the hell. But if there's a fun spot you can use where David Arquette is kind of this silly figure, former WCW champion and all. The worm has kind of turned on David Arquette a little bit. It's like, you're a disgrace to this business, and obviously he should never have been WCW champion, but don't be mad at him for that. He never wanted to be it.
Gave all of his money to the family. It's just...
He's a good guy, David Arquette, and I think if there's a fun way to utilize him, they should, and I wouldn't rule it out.
No, I agree. Like you say, it depends how he's received. I'd hope he'd be welcomed back into the wrestling business with open arms because of what we saw in that documentary. He nearly bloody died wrestling Nick Gage, let's not forget. Shanked in the neck by an errant light tube, let's just say. To be honest, and having said, what a nice guy he is, and we all love him here at WhatCulture, I'm in a really sound like I want him to get hurt, because I'd have loved to see him face Miro when he was TNT champion. That's not the case anymore.
Boy.
He could have it, but he could have it. I'm sure, like, Sammy Guevara's got a lot of goodwill amongst the fans. I'm sure Sammy could say, hey, you know what? Let's just have a fun little match. It doesn't have to be a face-heel
Let's
dynamic.
go 4 minutes. The Magic Man can... It'd be fun. It'd be fun.
I would like to see it, but let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. You're the best gauge of this sort of thing. And let's move on to today's, and finally, want to spread a bit of positivity today. It's a bit of a crap day here in Newcastle. Everyone needs pepping up. It's a Tuesday. It's a long week still to go. And Abaddon fired out a tweet last night, Andy, that really got me up in a slightly different way than you would expect, rather than just the, hey, everything's going to be all right. Abaddon tweeted, sometimes I feel like giving up. We all do. Then I remember I have a lot of mother flippers to prove wrong. All right, granted, she didn't say mother flippers, but I can't say what it says, and we probably can't even show what it says, but still, that is a good kind of mindset. You don't have to necessarily be all like happy, yeah, everything's going to be great. Just be like, you know what? I'm going to prove all those goddamn doubters wrong.
Stick up the middle finger, kick them in the ass, and yeah, I love the defiance. And look, Abaddon is a zombie, so you know, if someone puts her down, she just bite them and turn them into another zombie.
Exactly.
Perfect.
That'll show you, but don't you do that. Don't you think
don't
biting
bite people.
Just
That's
be
weird.
a better person to prove other people wrong. Don't go around biting, I'm going to say, anyone.
Don't do that.
Anyway, let us know your thoughts on that and all today's news stories in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts from, for daily wrestling podcasts. Of course, myself and the Dadley Boys sitting down to review Monday Night Raw and look ahead to NXT 2.0 a little bit later.
Do drop on that one as well.
Do drop.
Do drop.
Do drop.
Where does the come from? I don't know.
The gut. That's what I'm going to say, mate.
The diaphragm. Words.
What's happening? Anyway, at WhatCulture WWE, if you want to get in touch with us on Twitter and send us Twitter questions, and you can follow both of us whilst you're there. You can follow Andy Murray at...
You can follow me at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hercosity, which means goatishness. Do a goat noise.
Meh.
Meh. Meh.
What is going on? At Adam Wilborn.
It's a
At
bloody
WhatCulture WWE
disaster.
for all of us. And we will see you soon.
Meh.